على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Before we start, can I just ask everyone to move 3 feet forward to make room for people who are coming in, please? Thank you. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا وحبيبنا وقرة أعيننا قائد الغر المحجلين وشفيع المذنبين وسيد ولد آدم ولا فخر محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه وذرياته ومن والاه. تركنا المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. ثم أوصيكم ونفسي المذنبة بتقوى الله عز وجل كما أمر الله عز وجل في كتاب العزيز حيث يقول: يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم إن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وتضع كل ذات حمل حملها وترى الناس سكارى وما هم بسكارى ولكن عذاب الله عظيم. ثم أما بعد. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord and sustainer of the universe. We beseech and implore Him to forgive us our trespasses and our mistakes and to offer His most salient and blessed communications upon His last and final Prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the son of Abdullah, and upon his kin, his companions, his wives, and all those who follow his guidance to the last day. He has left for us a clear, pristine path. All those who follow it will find victory and happiness, and all those who waver from it will find perdition. Today is the 10th of Ashura, Muharram, the first month of the new year, 1445, after the hijrah of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it's also on this day that is a day of prophets and a day of followers of prophets. And as believers, as Muslims, these are the ones who are exemplars to the exclusion of all else. We follow prophets and we follow those who follow prophets. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His infinite mercy and compassion and beneficence to us, has sent us both. He has sent us prophets, and He has also enabled men and women to be the followers of those prophets. So it was on this day that the Prophet Musa alayhi salam, Moses, led his people in Exodus out of Egypt. Such as when the Prophet ﷺ entered Medina and he found the Jewish tribes that were actually there waiting for him, waiting for the last prophet, for the prophet of end times. That is why they migrated there to begin with. And he found them fasting the day of Ashura, this 10th day of Muharram. And when he asked them, why do you fast this day? They replied, this is the day that Moses led us out of Egypt into the promised land. What was the reply of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ? نحن أولى بكم من موسى. نحن أولى بموسى منكم. We have more right or more appropriated to follow Moses and to be the people of Moses than you. So it was his practice to fast that day before he entered into Medina, but now he encouraged the Sahaba also. And he said, أحسبه, I believe that it will expiate the sins of the previous year. Prophet ﷺ did not live to the next year to fast the 9th and the 10th. But it is the sunnah of Muslims to fast the 9th and the 10th, which was yesterday and today, or the 10th and the 11th, or the 9th, 10th, and 11th, if you so wish. Because the sacred months, the months of Muharram, are days also of fasting, has been prescribed in the sunnah of our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So when Musa led his people out of Egypt, and they were on the banks of the Red Sea, about to cross, but then they had the Red Sea in front of them. And they had Pharaoh and Haman and their armies behind them. And as been narrated in the Quran, revealed in the Quran, his companion said what? Inna lamudrakun. Inna lamudrakun. Game over. They're right behind us. And the sea's in front of us. What can we do? What options do we have? All out of options. What can we do? What was the reply of Moses alayhi salam, the Prophet of Allah, min ulil azmi bil rusul, from amongst the 5 who were the prophets of resolve, of utmost resolve? What did he say? Kalla. Kalla. No way. No way. Allah led me to this spot. No way, no way they will catch us. Why? Why would you say that, Moses? What gives you such certainty? Why are you so sure? Inna ma'aya rabbi sayahdeen. Inna ma'aya rabbi sayahdeen. My Lord is with me. He will guide me. My Lord is with me. He will guide me. What do I have to worry about? So he took his staff, cast it onto the Red Sea, and as we know, it split miraculously. And his people crossed. Pharaoh and Haman followed. And then the sea enveloped them. And they drowned. Did our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ have a similar situation? And in fact, during the Hijrah, indeed he did. The Prophet ﷺ was meticulous in the way that he did his Hijrah, as we know. Umar ibn al-Khattab did his Hijrah in a way that no one else could follow. Prophet ﷺ didn't follow his way, not because of fear, but because of regard and concern for his ummah. He did not want to leave an example for them that was too difficult to do. What was this that Umar did? He left his house, he went to the Kaaba, and he said to the Quraysh, I am emigrating. I am going for Yathrib. I am going for Medina. I am going to Allah and His Prophet. Whoever wants to stop me can meet me behind the mountain, and they can try to stop me. How many people followed? 0. That's Umar al-Khattab. But the Prophet ﷺ, out of regard and concern for his ummah, wanted to leave a followable example. So what did he do? He assigned Ali to stay in his house, to throw off Quraysh, to sleep in his bed. He went in the opposite direction initially. Mecca is south of, Medina is north of Mecca, so he went south first. And then he stayed in the Ghar, for days. And he assigned the son of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq to go back and forth with his flock of sheep to cover their tracks. And then the daughter of Abu Bakr, Asma, that in nitaqain, right, because she tied her garment with a knot, 2 knots. He told her, go listen to what's happening, if they're on our trail or not. And he stayed 3 nights there. But nonetheless, the Quraysh caught their trail. To the degree they got to the foot of the cave where him and his companion, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, were hiding. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said, Ya Rasulullah, all I have to do is look down and they'll see us. What did the Prophet ﷺ say? ثاني اثنين إذ هما في الغار لا تحزن إن الله معنا لا تحزن إن الله معنا. Do not worry, do not grieve. Allah is with us. What did the Bani Israel say to Musa? إِنَّا لَمُدْرَكُونَ. They couldn't even imagine that they could come out of it. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq didn't say it that way. He just said, if they look down, they'll see us. So the Prophet ﷺ reassured him, لا تحزن. We did everything we did correctly. Now it's up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How? إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَنَا. He didn't say Allah's with me like Moses said. Because we know no sooner than they crossed the Red Sea, than his people did what they did. But the Prophet ﷺ, he said, don't grieve, Allah is with us. If you're with me, you're with Allah. If you're with the Prophet ﷺ, you're with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The only door to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the door of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. There's no other doors. That is the door. Why do we say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadun Rasulullah? There's no shahada of La ilaha illallah without Ishrat al-Akhir, Muhammadun Rasulullah. When we hear the adhan, we hear Allah's name, then the name of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he is the door, he is the path. There's no other paths, no other doors. And if you're with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you're with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then automatically you're with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in the next khutbah, I will talk about one of those followers of the Prophets who was with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Sayyidina Hussein al-Ali radiyallahu anhu, karramallahu wajhah, in the second khutbah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لكم وسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه فإن التائب من الذنب كمن لا ذنب له. الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العظيم. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. So just briefly, Sayyidina Imam al-Hussein, the one that the Prophet ﷺ said, Hussein minni wa ana min al-Hussein. أحب الله من أحب الحسين. Hussein is from me and Hussein, and I am from al-Hussein. Whoever loves al-Hussein loves Allah. Why? Because of the family lineage? No, that's not the reason or the main reason. He is a follower of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. There are other family members of the Prophet ﷺ, like who? Abu Lahab. Was he not his uncle? تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب. His money didn't benefit him. His lineage, his proximity to the Prophet ﷺ benefited him. Why? Because he was not a follower of the Prophet ﷺ. But Sayyidina Hussein was an ardent follower of the Prophet ﷺ. He did not go out seeking war or a fight or power or influence. Who would go and take their family and their children with them? No one would. Sayyidina Hussein left in Medina and went to eventually Karb wa Bala, the place of devastation and tribulation, not for any glory of this dunya, not for anything of the dunya. He went for Allah and His Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we know the tragedy of that day and the tyranny of that day. But we may not realize the aftermath of that day and the beauty that came after that. The people of the household of the Prophet ﷺ dispersed after this. They could no longer stay in that place. Many of them spread. Many of them went to Damascus. And many went to Egypt. My family comes originally from Egypt. There is no one in Egypt who doesn't know the blessing of the land of Egypt, despite all of the difficulties. The same land that Moses led his people out of is the same land that welcomed the people of Ahlul Bayt, the people of Baytul Nubuwwah, the house of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. All of the blessing, all of the barakah came to Egypt. All of our imams that we look up to, Sayyidina Abu Hanifa, Sayyidina Imam Malik, who was their teacher? Who was their Shaykh? Sayyidina Ja'far as-Sadiq, the grandson, great-grandson of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. If it was not for him, they wouldn't know how to love the Prophet ﷺ. They wouldn't truly imbibe the Sunnah because it was taught by the people of Ahlul Bayt. And in the sound hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he said, whoever lives after me will find ikhtilafan kathira. من يعش منكم سيرى اختلافا كثيرا. Whoever lives after me will find much dissent and divergence within the ummah. ولكن تركت فيكم الثقلين. But I have left with you two weighty matters, two heavy matters. Kitab Allah, the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in the famous narration, Sunnati, and my way. But in another narration that is just as sound, or even sounder, because it's included in Sahih Muslim, a version of it, Itrati Ahli Bayti. I left for you the book of Allah and the noble household of mine. Itrati Ahli Bayti. How is that? Are these two different things? They are not two different things. They are the same thing. Because they're not Ahlul Bayt unless they follow the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How else can we describe them? So if they're following the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then they are the Waratha. They are the inheritors of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet's heirs, they didn't inherit from him gold or silver. What did they inherit? His legacy, his knowledge. That's what they inherited. That's what they spread to the ummah. That's what makes the ummah what it is today. So from the barakah of Ahlul Bayt, the barakah of the martyrdom of Sayyidina Hussein, radiallahu anhu, and the barakah of Ahlul Bayt spreading the beauty and the knowledge of the prophetic legacy, we are who we are today. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Salak al-Huda, wa-tuqa wa-al-afaf wa-hdina, wa-stuna bi-satik al-jameel. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما وصلي وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله عدد كمال الله بكماله. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله